Hi everyone, Namaste. How are you all? Hope you are doing well. So today we'll create a machine coding interview question. So that is to implement a OTP input using React.js. So for example, if I put my number here, so if I hit submit, you will get a UI like to enter a OTP here, right? So if you enter, so you can enter like this, okay? So it looks very simple, but it has many features like I will show you. First of all, it has the validation like phone number validation is there. So as soon as you enter your phone number, sorry, it might turn right, okay. So the one feature is when you reach this page, the focus will be on first input, first text input, okay. So when you enter, the focus should move, as you can see here, the focus is moving towards the next input, right? So in this way you can enter your OTP. Also when I do backspace now, see the focus will be decremented. And one more feature is, as you can see here, when I click on before the number, the cursor will move towards next. So this is a UI improvement which I have done, right? So in this way you can clear all the OTP here, right? So yeah, we'll implement this kind of feature. So let's start coding. So what I will do is, initially I'll create an empty folder on the desktop called OTP OTP input, something like that. So I'll go into this folder and I'll create a React app over here. Okay. So to create a React app, just I'm installing the React app with it. Okay. So I'll say npm create Vite at latest. Okay. I'll hit enter. So say yes, and select React over here. Okay. And then just select JavaScript. Okay. And the project has been created. So just we have to move to this folder. Okay. uh, this Vite project. Okay, you have to move into this. So I'll say Vite Vite project. Okay, I'll hit enter. And first of all, I'll open this in a VS Code. Okay, I'll open this folder in a VS Code. So the project has been opened here. And so initially I don't need some of the folders over here, so I'll delete this assets. Okay, I'll delete this CSS, and in this app.css, I'll completely remove all the code. Okay, since I want to start from scratch, so I'll remove that. In app.js also, I'll remove everything. Okay, so just I wanted to teach you from the scratch. Okay, I'll remove everything. So here also, as we removed index.css, so just remove that. uh, that's fine here. And here in the app.js, I'll create a simple component and I'll just export it. Okay, and I'll import this app.css over here. Okay, since I want to add some styles over there, so app.css. Okay, so now here in app.jsx, I'll just say, for testing purpose, I'll say hello Vikas. Okay, I'll save this and I'll run this project. So before running this project, so we have to install the node modules. Okay, the packages which are listed here. So for that, just you have to do npm install. Okay, sorry, npm install. Just do that, and once it's done, I'll be back. Okay, so all the packages have been installed. You can see the node model folder over here. So what I'll do is, I'll just first of all clear this terminal and I'll say npm run dev to start the development server. Okay, I'll start this project. I'll close this. I'll minimize the bit. I'll close this terminal as well. And when you hover on this, just click on this link. Okay, you can hover on this, and just click on this follow link, and this project will be open here. Okay, so meanwhile I'll keep this deployed one here. Okay, and I will, here is our development server, here is our deployed application. Okay, So to avoid confusion, what I'll do is I'll go to I'll go to index.js HTML, and here I'll say local host for you to understand. All right, so this is a local host, and this is a deployed one. Okay, so we'll look into this and we'll design here in the local host. Okay, cool. What I will do is initially I'll create a HTML and CSS part. Later on we'll move towards the logic part. Okay. So my main work will be on these two things in the app.jsx and app.css. Okay. So I'll start writing code here. So now I'll create a two components where one component is for this phone number input, and another component is for this OTP inputs. Okay, so I'll create two components over here in the src folder. Two files, two components in this component folder, that is OTP input for this and phone number input for that previous to enter the phone number. Okay, so I'll just do simple boilerplate code here. I'll save this here also, simple boilerplate code. I'm just importing React and then just adding that OTP input here, and I'm just exporting here as well. Okay, so here I will import that phone number component that we have created over there. As you can see here, we have imported the phone number component here in the import. So I think I'll give one class name to it as well. Okay, this phone number component. So I'll just say uh, Dave. So I just gave a class name to it as app wrapping this phone number component. Okay, so at start I will design this phone number input. Okay, to entering the phone number, I'll design this. Okay, so now here I'll remove this and I'll say I'll take a div and I'll give class name to it as OTP wrapper. Right, so since I want to bring this content, all the content to the center of the website, right? So I'll say OTP wrapper over there. And below this I'll create a form, right? And in that form I'll create an input of uh, of type text. All right, and I'll give class name to it as well. I'll give class name to it as phone number input. Okay, so you can see the text and the input field over there. Okay, and I'll create that button as well to submit, right? The submit button. Okay, so I'll come below this. Yeah, we are done with this. Now we'll style this. Okay, we'll style like this. We'll style this page as like that. So I'll first of all I'll style this enter for phone number, and later on this submit button, right? Input and submit button. So I'll go to the style sheet. So initially what I'll do is I'll bring the content to the center of the page. So for that we have to target this class which I've given here, app, in the main entry file. Okay, I'll just copy this class and I'll close this and come over here. So before that I'll give some default styles. Okay, I don't want this extra space over here. I want to remove that, and I want to make the background color as black, how it is here, right? So for that I'll say I'll take a star. So this is for global style, so that's why I've taken this star over here. Okay, so I'll say padding as 0, margin as 0, and I'll say background color of black, right? We are done with that, and I'll say simplicity pause. I'll say color as white. Okay, so now I'll give styles to that app which I've copied. So just I've copied and paste some style. I will explain you. So I will save this first. As you can see, I have given display flags to display flags display content center height 100 vh flex direction column this alignment center, just to bring the content to the center. So we have to give these properties. Okay, So since this is not a CSS tutorial, so just I'm not going much deeper into the CSS. Okay, just I'm more focusing on the logic purpose, so that's why I just pasted this code. You can go through this code. Okay, no worries, I will explain whatever the code I have written. I will explain you all that. So next I'll give styles to this OTP wrapper. Okay, this OTP wrapper, I'll copy this class, copy this, I'll come here. So this OTP wrapper basically has the border of 1 pixel wide. You can see the border over here, and I've given some padding inside 40 pixel. You can see there is some padding over here from border to the input content, what is the input content is, and I've given little bit of radius as well. You can see little bit of border radius over here at the four side. Okay. So next I'll give styles to this heading, this text, the entry of phone number. Okay, I'll give styles to that. So I'll copy the class for that. Here is the entry of phone number tag. Also just copy that class and I paste it here. So I've given some class to the heading, like I've given some margin bottom for this, right? Okay, you can see here, and I've given some font size to it as well. I've given some font weight to it, and I aligned the text to the center from both side. Okay, since you can see this text is center, right? So next I'll give styles to the phone number input for this. Okay, for this input. So I'll go to the component. I'll just copy that class phone number input. I'll just copy this. I'll paste that here. So for this phone number input component, I have given some simple styles like padding, outline, and right. I've given some border, like you can see the border over here, right? So I have given some border radius, some margin right, and font size as well. Whenever we write something, I've given font size to it as well. Okay. So again, this phone number I've given whenever the user focus on this now, I have given this border as 2 pixels. See, when I focus over here, you can see the border color is bit white, right? When I click over here, you can see that border color white. So that's why when a user focus, I've given this border as 2 pixel. Okay, that's done. And I will style this button as well next, right? So I'll go there and I'll copy this. This is a button tag. We have not given class to it, right? So here I'll say, so for button, just I've given again the simple style like padding from horizontal and vertical, top and bottom 10 pixel and 20 pixel, right? So I've given the border of 1 pixel, font size, cursor pointer. These are the basic styles, okay? And whenever the user hover on this, I've made the background color as white and color as black to it, right? As I hover here, you can see that. So that is the property for that, right? So next, I think we are done with this. I hope this is looking similar to this, right? Yeah, similar to this. One thing we forgot to add the placeholder to it, right? For this input component, just go here and add the placeholder like enter enter your phone number. Okay, so just do that. This is anyways we have written the heading here, enter your phone number, right? So I think we don't need here, but anyways leave it. Okay, just for purpose I have right. So leave that. So now I'll save this entire thing and I'll close this CSS. So now we'll move towards little bit logic, like whenever submit user submit the form without entering something, so we should show that alert, like browser alert, like please enter your phone number, like that, right? So for that, I'll give a submit event to this form. So I'll say handle submit. Okay, so I'll just copy this class. I'll come here and I'll say, and I'll paste that handle submit text over here, function over here, and I'll say, so I'll receive an event from that handle submit function, right? So I'll say event dot prevent default. I'll tell you why I'm writing this default. So I'm writing this because whenever the users submit the form now, I don't want the page to upload, page to reload. So for that, I have given this property over here. If I don't write here, I'll just comment it out. I'll show you what happens when a user submit the form now. See the page is getting reloaded, right? I don't want page to get reload. So for that purpose, I've just given this property over here, event.prevent default. I'll save this and I'll show you. Now I'll submit. uh, it's not working, I don't know. uh, there was a small spelling mistake. Okay, it should be DEF, not DAAF. Okay, so I'll save this. Now when I try to submit, now see, now the page is not getting reloaded, right? So you can see that the page is not getting reloaded, so there was some spelling mistake over here. So now I'll take a state to store this phone number, whatever the user writes the type the phone number, right, to store that. I'll take a component. I'll take the state over here, local state. So I'll say phone number and set phone number. Okay, phone number, set phone number, right? I'll import use state from React, right? So initially it will be empty string, right? Whenever the user types, we'll store that value in this phone number, right? So we have created a state, and now we have to bind this state to the input here. So now I'll say whatever the value will be, right, it will be the phone number or that state which I have created above, right? And when the user types something, we will fire a on change event to that. Okay, so we'll say, we'll receive an event over here, and we'll just we'll set the state of phone number. Okay, we'll say e dot target dot value. So whatever the user types, we'll set the phone number state over here with whatever the user type. So this e dot target dot value contains whatever the user type here, right? In that way we are setting the phone number state. Now whatever the user types, it will be stored in the phone number state, right? Now I'll check that phone number state. If phone number dot length, if it is less than 10, right, if it is less than 10, then just show the alert to the user like invalid invalid phone number, something like that. Okay, I'll save this and I'll go to the browser. So I'll type 4 digits. I'll try to submit. See, invalid phone number, at least a basic validation. Okay, no need for this, just I've given the validation. Okay, as soon as I type 10 digits, now there is no error, right? The form will be submitted. So yeah, this is completed, and we'll move towards the next OTP input, right? So for example, if I enter my number and if I submit this, now we have to create this OTP input component. Okay, OTP input. This I have For that purpose I have created an OTP input component here. So I'll open this. Now I'll do one thing. I'll import that below here. Okay, I'll import that below this form. I guess, yeah, below this form I'll import OTP component. Okay, now I'll import that OTP input. Okay, OTP input. So I've imported that, and I'll refresh this. We're not getting anything because we have not imported here, right? So import auto to auto import, just hit control space, you'll get this. So just click on this, so it will be auto imported. Okay, that component will be auto imported here. Okay, I'll save this. As you can see here, we have OTP input component over here, right? So I think we are done with this phone number component. I'll just close this and I'll just come here and I'll open CSS file over here, since we have to style this OTP component. So I have opened it here. So here in the OTP component, first of all I'll create a HTML for it. Okay, so I'll remove this. I'll say I'll uh, I'll create an input component for it. Okay, as you all can see here, I'll create for the input text input for this. I'll style this. Later on, we'll write the logic for it. Okay, so here I will say input of type, sorry, of type of text. Okay, so meanwhile I'll bring this down. Okay, it will be type of text, and I'll give class name to it as well. Like I'll say OTP input. Okay, I'll come down here. I'll close this input component input tag. Now I'll give styles to this. Okay, I'll give styles to this. I'll copy this class and go to CSS and I'll paste that here. I'll save this and I'll explain you this thing, right? So just I've given a width to this input component, right? The width is 40 pixel, the height is 40 pixel, and the font size, like whatever the font we write inside now. So that it will be fixed, no worries. Just to see the UI later on, we'll add the logic and we'll improve this. So so that I'll get some space on the right side over here. So that's why I've given margin right 20 pixel and text align center. So whenever we type, the text will be on the center. So this is the basic styles for it. So now I'll just close this and I'll come to here and I'll add the logic now. Okay, so here we can, you all can see there are 4 text boxes. Right now here is only one. So what we have to do for that is, let's say, I'll consider let the length of the text inputs are 4, right? There are 4 input text input, right? So initially I'm saying the length as 4, right? Now here I'll take so here I'll take a state called OTP set OTP, okay, and I'll initialize with I'll tell you, I'll initialize here. I'll say new array, right? New array. I'll pass this length over here, okay. This length, I'm talking about this length, right? Since we want 4 text boxes, I will explain you what does this do, and I'll fill with that, and I'll fill with empty string, okay. What does this thing does is, it will take the length is currently 4, right? So it will create a 4 empty string in an array. So I'll do console log that and I will show you that. So I just console log this OTP state over here. So I'll show what this 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 method does, okay. So before that, I just have forgot to import this use state over here from React, okay. So I just console log this. I'll show you the console.log what it prints. See, it has an array of 4 empty strings, right? Since the length is 4, so that's why this method has created empty string with the array it is an array which has 4 empty strings, right? 4 empty strings. So that's what it has done. So I'll close this. Now the thing is that anyways we have the array of empty string. Now I can loop through this so that I can create a 4 text boxes over that, right? So here I'll say OTP dot map, right? I'll receive a value in that, and first argument is a value, second argument is a index into it, right? So just I'll say I'll return read I'll return from that, and what I'll return, this text input. Now hopefully we can see the 4 text boxes over there, right? I'll save this. See, now we have the 4 text boxes over there. Since the length is 4, so it has this method has created a 4 empty string with that length, right, inside an array. So for that reason we are able to map that, and we are able to show this text input, right? So now here we'll create a three events, right? So before that I'll just remove this. I'll explain you, no need to worry. So I'll hit enter so that it will comes on the next line, right? So now here I will create a 3 events, right? The first one is on click event, the second one is on change event, the third one is on key down event, right? So I'll explain you. The first one will be value, okay. So value will come from here, right? The value will come from here OTP state, right? So now we'll write those 3 events which I said, the on click, on change, and on key down, right? So first of all, I'll write that code and I'll explain you why I have written that, okay. So here I've taken the value which will come from here, value, right? And I have taken an on change event, right? So whenever user types, so that will be an on change event, and I have provided this index which is coming from here and the event, right? So if from the event we'll get the value whatever the user types, right? And again I have taken the on click event over here. This is because as I showed here, this is a deployed one, okay. This is a deployed one. On click event what I have taken is whenever the user types, whenever the user clicks here before the number, the cursor move towards at the last position. Have you seen here? See, whenever I click before the number, see the cursor move at the last position. So that's why I have taken to push that cursor to the last. That's why I have taken the on click event over here. And here on the on key down event, so just I have passed the index as well here also, and pass the event as well. So what's the purpose of this is, see, when I do backspace now, the number user types will be get removed, and also we go to the backspace, and the focus is on the previous input, text input, right, the text input box. So that's why I have taken this on key down event, right? So that's the purpose of these three functions. Now I have fired the functions. Now I have to define this function as well. So here simply I declare those functions which I have fired here, and I'm passing the value whatever the pass index and event which I'm sending from here. Okay. So here initially I will extract the value from the text input whatever the user is typing. So for that I'll say const will store that in a variable, right? So I'll say v dot target dot value. So now whatever the user types, it should be number, right? We don't allow user to type text since input is a number based, right? So here we should check if the value is not a number. So this method you use to check the value is number or not, right? So if the value is not a number, so just we have to return from here. The control should not go down below there, right? We'll just return here itself, right? So that's the reason why we are not able to type the letters over here. Only we should allow the number. So in the next, we should allow the user to type only the one digits in the one text input, right? We should not allow 2 and 3 in the same text input. If user types 23, we have to take the last digits like 3 and we should show it here. I'll explain you once. I'll write the code and I'll explain you. I'll paste this code and I'll explain you here. So since I'm not modifying directly the state which I've declared here, I've just taken a new input, new OTP variable and just spread it over the previous state. And what I'm doing here is I'm taking the last digit whatever the user types. If he types the multiple things, for example, if I type here 2 and 3, see it is taking only 3 because we have here targeted the value dot length minus 1 means whatever the user types we have taken the last digit from it, right? And in that way we are setting the index, and this index we are getting from here from the handle change event. For example, this is 0th index, this is 1 index, this is 2, and this is 3, right? Right now we are in the 0th index. So in the 0th index, set that digit whatever the user types here. So the next thing is whenever I refresh the page now, whenever I land on this, I want the focus should be on the first text input, right? So for example, right, for example, if I type a random number, phone number here, and if I submit, see the focus is on the first text input, right? So I want that feature. Now if I reload, the focus is not on the first text box, right? So for that I'll take there is a hook called use ref hook to target the particular element on the DOM here. For example, we are targeting the first text box, right? So now I'll take first I'll write the code and I'll explain you. Okay, so we have imported the user ref hook from the React, and now we'll create a state for this uh, as an empty array, as if now it's an empty array, right? So here I'll say that ref, okay, and I'll receive input here, and I'll take that input ref variable which I have declared above, and I'll set that. Okay, and I'll explain you. No need to worry. I'll explain this piece of code. What this piece of code does. Take the current index equal to the input. Okay. So here I just did a typo mistake here. It should be input ref, right? So here we have created a variable with input ref. So what basically this piece of code does is it actually targets the text input box. Okay, I'll do console.log and I'll show you. I'll do console.log and I'll do this input ref in a console.log. Okay, I'll save this and go to the browser. See, uh, make this a little bit small. I'll just open the console.log. See, here is an object, right? In object we have 4 text input boxes. It is targeting. See, when I hover over this, so basically it is targeting the 4 text boxes. Okay, so here in this way it helps to target the input box to focus whenever the page loads, right? So here is an array, so we target the 0th index in that. So here we'll say in the use effect, so first of all we have to import one more hook called use effect, which is from React. Okay, so we have to import that from React. So actually we don't need extra bit of here, we can directly import it here. Okay, paste that. I'll just remove this. Okay, so this use effect runs once the page loads. Okay, once the page loads, so what we want is, so once the, we have to give the empty dependency here, so that it doesn't run every time. I want only to run it once the page loads. Okay, so when the page loads, take that input refs, in that the 0th index, right? Input refs that current, in that take the 0th input, right? This is the 0th, right? I'm hovering here, you can see this is the 0th, right? Take that 0th and please focus that, right? So I'll say input ref dot current, take that 0th index and just focus it. Okay, focus on that. So I'll save this. Some error, so not over here, so sorry, it should be 0. Okay, I'll save this. See, whenever I'll reload the page now, I'll just close this. Whenever I reload the page now, see, the focus will be on this first text box. I reload this, see, no, the focus is on now the first text box, right? So yeah, this is done. So the next thing is, whenever I type now, the focus should move towards the next text box so that we can type here. Okay, so for that I'll say, so here I'll say input ref, take that input ref variable dot current. Now here I'll say index, because see, for example, user click when the page loads, user type something here 2. This is a 0th index set. We are getting index from here. So that just make that index, target that index and +1, right? So the cursor, the focus will move towards the next text box here. So here we'll shape focus. Okay, so when the, here as I said, as we said here, when the page reloads now, current index, the 0th index, right? The 0th text box should be focused. So here in the same way we are saying, we are getting the index from here, right? So we are saying make the next text input box focus. So that's why we are writing this piece of code. Now I'll save this and I'll go to the browser, I'll refresh this. See, as soon as type here na 2, whatever the text, whatever the number you type, the number here, the focus will be on next text input. So I will type 2 here. See, the focus is moving towards the next text box here. Okay, so that's what this piece of code does. So hopefully you got it. So our next thing is that, see, whenever I do backspace now, so whenever I do backspace, the focus should also move towards the previous text box, right? So I'll say here, right now, see, it's not working properly. When I click here, when I do backspace again, the focus should be going, focus is moving on the next text box here. So I should fix that. So here I have given a on key down event here. So basically that this function will do that. So however we have declared a function over here. So in the same way, so here we'll check what the user is pressing. So for example, user press backspace. So we have to target that. So for that we'll say e dot key. If it is equal to backspace, then only do the further work. Okay, if it is backspace, right? And if the index is, if the index is, if the, sorry, if the index is greater than 0, right? So it checks for only these 3 text boxes. Okay, so hopefully you got it. So in that case, just copy this code. You have to decrement it. We have to decrement the focus. Okay, so here in this say just minus. Okay, we are here, we are moving forward the focus. Here we are just decrementing the focus. Okay, I'll save this, I'll just refresh this. Okay, I'll enter something here 2 3 8 1, right? Now I'll do backspace. Okay, I'll do backspace. See, we are going the backspace, but there's one more issue. The one remains like that only here. See, 5, I'll write like 5 3 1 2. So if I write 5 3 1 2, now I'll do backspace. See, only the previous digits are getting empty, not these two. We'll fix that issue here. So here I just forgot one more condition to write. I'll write that and I'll explain you. So basically, if there is no OTP, there is no OTP index, right? So here we are checking. We want to do backspace, as I said here, when a user plus a backspace and when the index is greater than 0, that works. So here we are also checking if there is no OTP index. I mean, if the present index is 0, now if it is falsy, then only go backspace, right? Simply when, for example, this is empty, I'll show you. I'll show the deployed one. I'll show you here. See, if there is, I'll remove this. See, now we should go backspace only when this is empty. Okay, only when this is empty, just go backspace. So this means that, okay. So I'll save this and I'll reload the page once again. I'll see the focus is on first. I'll say 2654, right? Now I'll do backspace. See, now we're getting the backspace over there. So now the next thing is, as I in the deployed project, as we reload the page now, initially we are seeing this phone number input. Then after this, when we enter the correct phone number, then only, I mean, the 10 digits phone number, then only we are seeing those text boxes, the 4 OTP boxes. So for that, I'll just go to phone number component here. So for that, I'll take a state here called const show OTP box. Okay, set show OTP box. Okay, so I'll take a use state and initially it will be false. Okay, initially when the page reloads, when we visit this page, initially it will be false. So once we submit, once the phone number is 10 digits, then only we show here, right? So see here, we are checking if the phone number is 10 digits or not, right? So here we'll share return. Okay, so that if the number is 10, less than 10, we'll just return from this function over here. So here we'll say if it is number greater than 10, we'll reach here, and here we'll say we'll make it as true. Okay, we'll just set this thing as true since the phone number are 10 digit. So we'll set it as true, and we'll take this show input local state, and we'll say here uh, we'll come down here and we'll say, so here we'll say we'll take that state. If the show OTP box is true, what we'll do is we'll just show this OTP component. Okay, else will come here, else will show this form. Okay, I'll just cut it and I'll just paste that here, and we're getting some error, needs to check. So that error is because we have to wrap this in a div. We have comment there. Okay, I'll just wrap this in a div. So I'll save this. See, now once I enter the phone number 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 0. Okay, once I write 10 digits phone number, when I submit this, see, then only we are seeing this text box. Okay, and also there is one more thing, like if I type my phone number here. See, initially you are saying enter your phone number, but when I submit, I don't want to see this enter your phone number. Okay, see, still we are seeing this, so we have to remove that. So we have to show this p tag only when uh, show OTP box is false, right? If it is false, then only show this p tag. Okay, so we have fixed that also. So I'll save this and I go here. So if I go here and I'll type the 10 digits number and I'll submit it, so then we are not seeing that, right? So here we should say, the enter your OTP. Okay, so for that I'll go to OTP input and I'll say here, and I'll take a p tag. I'll say enter your OTP. Okay, I'll save this. I'll style this also. I'll give class name to it, like OTP enter text, something like that. You can give anything. I'll just copy this. I'll save this first. I'll go to CSS. Just I'll paste some code here and I'll tell you. So just I'll given a font size, font weight, and text align center, right? Cool. So now the one more issue is, for example, if I type 1 2 3 4, when I do backspace now, see, when I do backspace, see the focus is on not on this previous text box, so we have to fix that also. To fix that issue, see when the page loads now, when the page loads, so I'll just enter random number here, submit. So when the page loads, the focus is on the first text box, right? So when it should be on the second text box, whenever we write something now, whenever the text box is filled, then only the focus will move towards the next text box, right? So we have to check this condition before adding the focus on the next text input box. So we have to check here if there is something value, if there is a value, if there is a value and the index and the index is less than length dot minus 1, and in that case just paste this, cut this here and just paste this here, right? So I'll save this and I'll check. I'll add 1 2 3 4. Now I'll do backspace. See, now it's working fine. So the one more feature we are left with is, for example, if I write 2 3 4 5, when I click here the number, when I click before the number, see the cursor should come next to it. So that is the feature, right? When I click here, see when I click before the number, the cursor is showing before that, while the cursor should come next to it. So for that we have a handle click function, which I have not written code in that. See, we have handle click, we have fired from here on the click event, we have given handle click and we have given the index to it, right? So targeting that index, we just have to move that cursor to the next, I mean the last position. We have to move that cursor to the last position. So for that purpose, so for that also we have input ref, right? By using input ref, we are targeting the text box, the index, okay, the basically the index of the text box. So here we'll say take that input ref, okay, take that input ref and that current and whatever the index is, present index is. See, we are passing this index from handle click, right? If I click on this text box, the index is 3, sorry, index is 2. It starts from 0, right? 0 1 2 and 3. So this is when I click here, the index is 2, right? So take that box index, right? Take this index and set a, there is a method called set selection, okay? Set selection range, make it to 0 comma 1. Okay, I'll save this and I'll explain. No need to worry, I'll explain this code now. Like if I click before the number, see the cursor is automatically moving towards the next, right? So now I'll explain this code. I'll divide this code into two parts. The first is input ref current index. So basically this is used to target where the user is clicking, whether it's clicking on the second text box, I mean here or here. So it is to track that. So set selection range is used to select the range of the text, right? Selecting 0 to 1, so that means there is only one text. So I'm selecting to 0 to 1 means it puts the cursor at the last position. Okay, so now we have some errors in the console.log. We'll remove that. Okay, so before that we'll remove this console.log. Okay, so which is on the line number 9. Just go to this, just remove this, it's not needed. Okay, just save this. I'll just enter 4. Okay, see, as soon as we enter, right, we should display that OTP in the console.log, basically the submission of forms. Okay, so and enter 1 2 3 4. So as you can see in the deployed project, when I refresh this and when I enter a random number, okay, when I submit this, see when I hit 1 2 3 and 4, see we have a console.log here, OTP submitted, the value is 1 2 3 4. So we'll do that. Okay, so now I'll do console.log of this OTP. I'll just to check what it is inside. Okay, I'll just do console.log this OTP and I'll just do, right. So I'll save this, I'll go to the browser, I'll flight 3 4. See, right now they are in array, right? We have to convert that to string, I mean in a string form. We have to remove that array. So for that we have a method called join. Okay, so I'll say join. So now they would be in a string, right? See, so now they are string. So what I'll do is initially I'll store that in a variable. I'll say const, uh, I'll say joined OTP. Okay, I'll remove I'll remove these brackets. So now, as I said, I want to show this console.log. Basically, when we are submitting this OTP, right, that to happen only when the user enters all these boxes, right? So for that, I'll check if the joined OTP, whatever we are getting here, right, in the console dot we are getting, right. So I'll check the length. If the length of it, if it is equal to the length of these boxes, right, the length of these boxes, if that is there, then just show the console.log, like uh, we can say OTP is OTP is I'll just add that thing, right, the joined OTP. Copy this and I'll just paste this down here. I'll save this. Now once I refresh this and I'll check everything is working or not. 1 2 3 4 5 6 random phone number. I'll submit this, and we have one more error. Each child should have key. Okay, so, okay, line number 47, just provide a key over here, right. OTP input, so this is, so just provide a key for a unique reference, so just a key as an index over here, right. So I'll save this, I'll refresh this once again. I'll provide a random phone number. Okay, I'll just submit it, and I'll enter phone OTP as 2905. See, our OTP is 2905. So just provide a space over here, a little bit space. So go up here and just where it is. Okay, just give a space. That's it. Save this. Go to that. I'll just empty this and just say 2456. See, the OTP is 2456. Cool. So I think, friends, we are done with this project. We have implemented it successfully. And thank you so much, friends, for watching this video. If you found this video helpful, please don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much. Bye bye. Take care.